What's the hardest thing about snowboarding?
Ooh. Snowboarding is the hardest thing about snowboarding.
Waking up early in the morning. No, that's actually not a problem. Hardest thing about snowboarding?
We're going deep.
I mean, there's a couple different ways you could go about that question.
Hardest thing about snowboarding for me is definitely like the mental aspect of like trying new things, because I ride with one arm, so I don't have like the back arm for balance and stuff. So I'm like, okay, how can I like adapt and do this trick without getting totally worked? So it's definitely always adapting for me.
I would say one, you have to live near somewhere or you have to travel. So I'd say accessibility. Accessibility is probably one of the hardest things, and then the mental barriers that come with it.
I mean, it's obviously different for everybody, but I would have to say just learning how to snowboard is hard in the beginning, but after you get it down, it's worth it.
What do you find is the hardest thing about snowboarding?
Probably just getting things like dialed down. Like if you can do something once, you have to be able to do it like multiple times, and it's hard.
Just learning new things, because it always takes the first try. There's always a mental block. You're in every trick. Always on like a road gap or something. It's like a mental block always.
Yeah, it's all mental, isn't it? What did you do to overcome that challenge?
One, I planned my whole life around snowboarding so that I could move somewhere where I could do it as much as possible. And then I just thought about it. I practiced at home, like doing off-season training things, and then I just focus a lot of my energy on snowboarding, and because I love it.
What's the hardest thing about snowboarding?
For me personally, it'd be being away from my family in Florida. And I've this year it's been heavy with realizing that now that I'm older, and yeah, just maturing.
Hardest thing about snowboarding is gonna be the mental battle. For example, I've hit really big jumps before, like 40, 50 feet, and then I've had one bad spill, and then I'm scared to hit a 10-foot jump. So you just kind of have to mentally work your way through it again, and just trust yourself that you know how to do it, you've done it before, and that's how you overcome it.
I think the hardest thing about snowboarding is how much we don't actually snowboard. One of the biggest challenges is you might be a weekend warrior, you snowboard 2 days a week and you might get 60 days. That's really hard to get better and progress and feel amazing if I only snowboard 60 days. If I snowboard every day in the season, I still take 6 months off during the summer. So getting enough time on my snowboard is probably the most challenging aspect.
For me personally, it's worrying about what other people are thinking. Whether or not they're like, oh, Cordell's a kook, Cordell's this, that trick wasn't clean, or whatever. I'm always that's the anxiety, but I find when I have the best time when I shut that off and I just am doing my own thing.
I mean, there's a couple different ways you could go about that question, but I think the hardest thing about really progressing with snowboarding is designing your life in a way, or figuring out how to live in a way where you have access to the mountain on a regular basis, where you can actually get those 50, 60, 70-day seasons where you're gonna make those big leaps in your progression.
So last year I actually graduated with my bachelor's in business administration and marketing. Had a pretty decent job, but it wasn't what I wanted. So I sold everything I could, bought an old truck with a camper on the back, and drove out to Mount Hood for spring snowboarding, and decided to stay. And I live in my truck, work almost minimum wage, but never been happier. I'm saving money because I don't have rent, and just have met some of the best friends that I've had, and I've only known them 2 months. It's wild.
Sick. DJ, that's it, man. Thank you,
Dude,
brother.
best,
That was
dude.
awesome. You crushed it.
Dude.
Yeah, really good answers.
Appreciate it.
Zach, you're back, man.
Back.
Did you get the Aloha burger?
Oh man, took a digger.